Hey guys, I just wanted to make a quick video, just something that I was thinking about. Sometimes these types of thoughts just rattle through my head, and I wonder what we're doing when it comes to these Dark Age of Camelot servers, and what the vision is when it comes to attracting people to these servers. Now, who knows how accurate these actual numbers are? This is literally the first pull up when I look at this with Google's AI. We'll give some flexibility on numbers, and we'll also touch on something after I'm done talking about it. When it comes to the philosophy on these servers that are being created by these teams, I think what ends up happening is that things start to go into this direction of appeasing people that are absolute fanatics, like I consider myself when it comes to this game. You gotta pull some really weird stuff for me to step away from a server or step away from the Dark Age of Camelot experience that I absolutely adore. And I think a lot of people, when it comes to the 250, 275,000 subs from back in the day, which I guess maybe even grew but then dwindled after World of Warcraft's release, which don't forget that World of Warcraft's draw was how much they embraced that classic feeling of EverQuest and Dark Age of Camelot when it came to the progression, when it came to a lot of the hardcore aspects of an older MMORPG. It absolutely embraced a lot of these things, but at the same time was implementing new things like the heavy questing for leveling, which even these quests were giving you a 10th to 15th of your level per turn in. You know, like, so even the questing system, when it came to the experience reward, was extremely small, to the point to where you could just about kill monsters, or even in some cases pull off killing monsters and competing with that EXP gain on the quests. Now, what's interesting is that I think that we are trying to appease the people that are still here. We're still desperate for the next server, the next experience. I feel like a lot of the people in the Eden Discord who played Phoenix, who played Celestius, who are aware of Blackthorn at the moment, tend to be that same 4,000 to 5,000 people, let's say 10,000 concurrent, so, you know, probably around the 10,000 or so, and we start to tunnel vision appeasing them because we feel like they're the only ones. You know, they're the only ones that are still playing, they're the only ones that are keeping an eye out and waiting, and it's for them. We lose sight of how many people actually played this game. And of course, let's even say the entirety of 50% or even more will never touch this game again. We're still talking about gargantuan numbers that I feel would be willing and are in a place of craving that Dark Age experience as close as it can get that they remember from long, long ago. And that number is not even comparable to the people that, like myself and others, that are consistently a part of Dark Age of Camelot, even to this day. I feel like the MMORPG community as a whole are burnt out and exhausted with all of the types of copy-paste changes that tend to go from game to game. It's a different engine, it's a different name, but somehow they all seem to adopt one another's functionalities. And there's a reason as well that WoW Classic was such an unbelievable success, and that they have their own Classic servers that even separate even after the success of the live company's server implementation. They continue to make community servers based on Classic, based on this, based on custom, whatever. It's a section of the MMORPG genre that I feel like refuses to die. Whereas we've seen things like Warhammer Online, Rift, and so many other games completely shut down and die, I would almost categorize New World as that, even though they had some really wonderful, fun crafting implementation systems that gave it that survival, progressional side of the game that was actually really well implemented. But there were so many foundational issues with the game, the end game content, and things like that, that it just couldn't stay alive. Balance issues with weapons, things like that. I could go on and on and on. We all probably wanted New World to be good in so many other ways, where they were able to really capitalize and do a wonderful job in certain environments, but those particular areas of progression in the game weren't the things that keep an MMORPG gamer hooked for sometimes, when it comes to EverQuest and Dark Age and Ultima Online, you'd say an indefinite amount of time. I mean, there are some of us that have played this game since release and have maybe taken 6 months to 1 year to 2 years of a break max before we are itching and dying to return to these games. So I'm sure this has been up on the screen long enough for you to absorb what I'm getting at here. And that is that the community that exists and is operational and active at the moment is not even a sliver. You couldn't even compare it in any way, shape, or form to the amount of players that were once playing this game all at the same time. So, one of the things that I wanted to show was probably, I've had many meaningful comments on videos. I've had many heartfelt comments on videos, and I appreciate everybody that has reached out and everybody that puts out their opinions and how they feel and how Dark Age of Camelot, EverQuest, things like that have impacted them. And I love to see them all. But for some reason, just because of some of the topics that I have been covering lately when it comes to this game, I really heavily related to this comment. And so I want to read this comment for you guys. I'm sure they don't mind that their name is out because their name is on the comment of a previous video. I'm going to assume that they're okay with this. So even though you can read it, I'm going to read it out loud because I just love it. True story. I was an OG player. I played Dark Age of Camelot from its open beta to its launch and for 18 years afterwards. Absolutely dedicated. I remember there were no map markers. There were no quest markers. There was just pure, unadulterated MMORPG. Was just a pure, unadulterated MMORPG where everyone was on even keel from the get-go. And character progression was measured in months, not hours. My first character was a Norseman Thane named Xylophebe. How would we say that? Xylophebe. Yeah, something like that. You can figure that out on your own. Rip and hammer. And I took him all the way to level 42 before deleting him. Yep, deleted a character because I messed up and put 10 of my points into charisma because I thought it was going to help me with buying stuff from merchants, which is true in games like EverQuest, Ultima Online, old school stuff like that. So he wasn't wrong in assuming that. This was before respec stones. My reasoning, I came from, Dungeons & Dragons background from Chaw, was a key stat in commerce and negotiations with buying and selling, of course. Fast forward to almost a year after that. A year, they emphasize. And my first level 50 character was a kobold rune master named Silkvaten. Okay? Just from reading this so far, tell me how you think that this person felt about their first level 50 and the journey and the grind and the work that they put into this character. If it took them an entire year, they had a good job, they had a family, they couldn't invest as much time as a lot of us could when we were younger, and they trucked along and they kept grinding and they kept going, and the level experience and this back-end system that was not PvP RVR, which is what the primary focus of this game was, still didn't deter this person from continuing to then attempt to get level 50 and begin the actual PvP and RVR experience. This was my main for about 3 years before I switched over to a Norse spirit master named Canadarix. And I stuck with that name for my tag name for 15 years. And it followed me through my entire gaming career, if you want to call it that. Sometimes I feel that way too. Real deal. Like, the time investment on some of these games are absolutely just insane and absurd. When I played, Spindlehala was the highest dungeon, Romeric was the highest mob area, and I could still remember dinging 50 off the tree mobs in Rarn. They say, I don't think Blackthorn will ever be able to catch the magic of what OG Dark Age of Camelot was, but I do hope they succeed to the point of being able to sustain a community and a population large enough to keep the game alive and thriving. I wish them all the luck and genuinely the best in their endeavor. Dark Age of Camelot will always hold a very dear place in my heart, and this might be enough for me to reinstall and give it a go, just to see what it's like, and for the sentimentality I have for the game. And this is them listing off their old characters and server and stuff like that they played on. So my message to the people that are running the servers, want to run servers, want to start servers, is I dare you to attempt to recapture these players. I don't want you to appease me. I don't want you to appease the currents. I want you to take a chance and try to get these ones back. These are the people that have dedicated their life to this game in the past. They didn't leave Dark Age of Camelot because they had a hard time leveling. They didn't leave Dark Age of Camelot because of its difficulty. They didn't leave Dark Age of Camelot because they were killed too often in RVR. The problem is, we are trying to appease the people that want smooth sailing when it comes to EXP. They want an even, no way for it to possibly feel like it's not even and balanced playing field when it comes to the strength of their characters. They want buffers. They want bumpers. They want protection mechanisms. They want assistance. They want help. They want you to hold their hand. And those are the people that do not understand to the fullest of the extent of what that actually does when it comes to damaging the MMORPG experience. We would not be in the position that we are with this genre that was once a giant that could be not even considered to be touched by how many players they had count-wise versus any other genre in the world. It is unreal the direction that all of these newer games have gone. I feel very strongly that if Blackthorn wants to do this right, that they will not create fancy functions. They will not create ease of access and ease of use in detriment ways. They have created a crafting system where it's a quality of life based system. I don't have to buy 50 of that ingredient, 50 of that ingredient, and 50 of that ingredient individually, count-wise, from the merchant. I can pick what I would like to craft. I can click a button while standing next to the merchant, and it will buy, and it will auto-buy those items. I still have to go over to the alchemy table. I still have to run through the questing function, but it automates it and creates these things in a row for me. Okay, those are quality of life things that are not detrimental to the core of the game. But when you have accelerated experience, when you have systems that protect people that put themselves in harm's way when they are not ready, it starts to create an issue where the people that would like to work hard at creating a strong character or something that they feel as if they put time and effort into to compete, that guy over there has a special buffer system to put them on the same playing field as them or relatively close. We have to be careful when it comes to things like that. You think that you're doing the right thing. You think that you're adding comfortability. You think that you are protecting people's mentality and frustration if things don't go their way in these games. But the only thing that you're doing is it just detriments the actual experience and the server and the environment in itself. Now, I'm not going to say that some of these systems and some of the things that Blackthorn already has is all negative, because it's not. It was fun. I liked it, all the old school models. Really cool. And they already fixed and are looking into some of the experience gains and stuff like that inside their 10 through 35 specialized Thidranki environment. At the moment, the list of positives is much bigger than the list of negatives with Blackthorn. And it's a 6+ month beta, okay? None of my criticism is meant to be damaging. None of my suggestions are meant to be judgy of their direction and what they're trying to do. I only want to add assistance and brainstorming and theorizing on what could possibly make this server be a 10-year server, because there are servers out there from other games that have knocked it out of the park and have ran for over 10 years with thousands of players on them every single day with no drop in populations. So, I just wanted to put that out there. I just wanted to kind of touch on that and talk about it, because I dare these servers and these teams to attempt to capture that person that made that comment. I dare you. Because I wholeheartedly believe that there are more of them that have already dedicated their life to this game and that are just dying to come back if they could really actually truly relive and be a part of a community that is in an actual environment like what they described to us right there. There are more of them than there are of us. And that may be a harsh reality for a lot of people to accept, or these teams to accept, but it is the truth. Okay, you gotta not even a handful in comparison to all of the people that used to play this game, even if you cut that in half or 60%, toss out the window because they'd never touch this game no matter what. Even 30 to 40% of those total numbers for the first 6 years of this game, for the first 5 years of this game, is just huge compared to who is here right now playing these servers right now in Blackthorn, in Eden. We don't even count as a fraction of the player base that would return. Just thoughts. Much love, guys. Thank you very much for popping in. I enjoy making videos like this. The Blackthorn team seems to be extremely back and forth with the community. They're super open. We have really in-depth conversations. They give really detailed and in-depth responses. They seem to really take our feedback super seriously. It is an honor. It is a huge enjoyment to be a part of all of this. We're very lucky that these teams dedicate their time to give us these servers, and I'm very appreciative. But my loyalty is to the community and this game, and it will never be to a particular team. But at the moment, the Blackthorn team has my full support because we're in beta, and everything is subject to change. And I will not make a finalized critique or judgment that I'm upset about until those gates open, and it is the release, an open release of Blackthorn. That is when I will mention and talk about absolute and total disdain or frustrations or things that I think are super disappointing. But right now, I'm just suggesting, I'm just entering thoughts to be thrown around amongst the team, amongst the community, for us all to try to reach a beautiful balance with Blackthorn that can truly allow this server to thrive. So there's my thoughts. Much love, everybody. You guys have a good day. Thank you for watching. Sub if you enjoy. I always appreciate it very much. The channel's not going anywhere, but the more subs, the more views, the more likes, the more comments, the more it will actually push these videos, and I enjoy trying my best to be a voice for the community. And all I want is better for this game and its community and our opportunities to play in the Dark Age of Camelot environment as long as possible. And I always feel bad that I don't have the skill to be a part of these teams and be of any assistance, but this is the way that I can do it, and I'm going to utilize that that way as much as I can and in the best way that I can. So you guys have an awesome day. Thank you again for watching. Show the channel some love. Check out Blackthorn. Give it feedback. Touch base with everybody. Say what you do and you don't like. All these things seem to be getting received. So only took them 2 seconds to back off some of the EXP issues and things like that where it felt a little over the top, and I couldn't even get a video out to talk about it before they went and fixed exactly one of the primary issues that I was worried about. So already actually good signs. All right, love you guys. See you later.